Welcome to this explainer. What if I told you that one of the absolute simplest things you do every single day, or let's be honest, sometimes completely forget to do, could trigger a high-stakes biological thriller right inside your own body? Every day, we naturally lose water through urine, sweat, just breathing, and even straight through our skin. Today, we're exploring exactly what happens to your major organs when you ignore your body's desperate need for fluids. Okay, let's dive into this.
We all kind of think of dehydration as simply feeling thirsty, right? Just a dry mouth that needs a quick sip of water. But it turns out it's so much more than that. Dehydration is actually this massive cascade of systemic changes that start happening long before you even realize you're thirsty. It's not just a passing feeling, it's a profound physiological shift.
Let's start by looking at our primary control centers, the brain and the blood. It's pretty wild, but your brain is incredibly picky about its environment. It depends on things being highly stable. When you lose water, the actual concentration of substances in your bloodstream changes, and you've got these specialized built-in sensors in your brain that detect even the tiniest shift in that fluid balance. This is exactly why, even with a relatively mild fluid loss, you start getting those totally relatable symptoms: a pounding headache, physical fatigue, a really hard time concentrating, or even noticeable changes in your mood. If you've ever found yourself staring at the exact same sentence for 5 minutes and your brain just feels like it's running on battery saver mode, what we usually call brain fog, hydration is absolutely a factor you should look at.
And this fluid loss kicks off a literal domino effect right inside your cardiovascular system. Let's walk through how this happens. First, you lose fluid. Since your blood is largely made up of water, step 2 is a direct, immediate drop in your overall blood volume. Step 3, because there is literally less fluid pumping through the system, your heart suddenly has to work way harder to circulate that blood. And finally, step 4, this totally forces your heart rate to spike, putting your heart into serious overdrive, which is especially true if you're exercising or out in the heat.
So what does all that cardiovascular strain actually feel like to you? Well, have you ever stood up way too fast and felt a sudden wave of dizziness or lightheadedness? Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. See, your body doesn't just sit back and passively wait for you to drink water. It goes into active defense mode to protect your blood pressure. Your blood vessels will actually shrink down, changing their diameter to force your circulation to keep going. But the longer you go without a drink, the harder these systems have to fight.
Moving on to some more of those incredible defense mechanisms, your kidneys and your body temperature.
It is absolutely fascinating to see how the kidneys step up here. They're basically the ultimate hard-working bouncers for your fluid balance. They're constantly filtering your blood, but when your fluid gets low, they get these urgent hormonal signals with a very clear, desperate command: hold on to as much water as possible. This flips a switch into serious conservation mode. The result? You're going to the bathroom less frequently, and your urine becomes much darker and more concentrated. Now, urine color isn't a completely perfect test. Some foods and meds can change it, but it is a massive, glowing clue that your kidneys are fighting tooth and nail to conserve whatever water you have left in the tank.
A really crucial point here is how this lack of water completely messes with your body temperature. Think about the contrast. In a normal, healthy state, you produce plentiful sweat that naturally evaporates off your skin, and boom, your body heat is removed. But in a dehydrated state, there's simply less fluid available to make that sweat. This makes cooling yourself down incredibly difficult and, quite frankly, dangerous. This is a huge reason why your physical performance can just fall off a cliff, and why dehydration mixed with heat exposure can quickly lead to severe heat-related illnesses when you're working out.
Which brings us right into the physical toll this takes on your muscles, your gut, and your overall fatigue levels.
Your muscles absolutely depend on proper fluid levels and a very specific cellular environment to do their job. When you sweat, you aren't just losing water. Your fluid and essential electrolytes, like sodium, take a nosedive. This disruption inside your cells is exactly why you might suddenly feel muscle weakness, why physical fatigue just heavily sets in, and why your risk for getting muscle cramps shoots way up.
But hey, I want to clear up a massive misconception right now. The myth is that simply drinking water is going to cure any and all muscle cramps. The reality? Quite different. While hydration is without a doubt vital, cramps can also stem from just plain old generalized muscle fatigue or other specific electrolyte imbalances. So yes, absolutely keep hydrating, but chugging a massive bottle of water isn't a guaranteed magical cure for every single cramp you're going to experience.
And man, these mechanical impacts keep right on going into your gut. Water plays a massive role in normal digestion by literally keeping things moving smoothly through your digestive tract. Without adequate fluid, your stool becomes harder and just much more difficult to pass. This internal slowdown contributes directly to constipation. Now sure, if you have persistent digestive issues, there might be other underlying causes, but a sheer lack of water, that will absolutely bring your digestive system to a sluggish crawl.
So when you put all of this together, the strain on your heart, the struggle to regulate your temperature, the heavy brain fog, it's absolutely no wonder your energy just disappears. But keep in mind, hydration is really just one piece of the puzzle here. Things like poor sleep, high stress, illness, and inadequate nutrition are also major contributors to feeling totally exhausted.
Let's talk about the breaking point, and more importantly, the resolution.
So what actually happens when dehydration crosses the line from a mild nuisance to something much more severe? First, let's appreciate the normal way our bodies resolve this. We have this impressive, built-in biological feedback loop. Step 1, you lose water. Step 2, your body's internal sensors catch that drop in blood concentration. Step 3, your brain triggers that sensation of thirst. It's an incredible, powerful alarm system. Step 4, you drink some water. And step 5, your fluid balance is beautifully restored. For most healthy folks, this built-in monitor works remarkably well to pull us back from the edge.
But what if that loop breaks down? Severe dehydration is a very frightening reality, and it's often caused by things out of our control, like prolonged vomiting, diarrhea, or exceptionally heavy sweating where that normal feedback loop is just entirely outpaced. At this stage, your blood volume drops dangerously low. Your kidneys and your circulation are severely struggling just to maintain normal function. The symptoms escalate incredibly fast to marked weakness, severe confusion, fainting, very little to no urination at all, and severely impaired circulation.
And this is the absolutely crucial point I want you to take away from this: the definition of severe dehydration. This is not a casual situation where you just need to sit down and have a glass of water. It is a literal medical emergency requiring prompt medical attention. If someone is confused, fainting, extremely weak, or completely unable to keep any fluids down, you cannot simply wait around and hope a quick drink fixes the problem.
So how do we practically prevent this from happening day to day? We've all heard the whole 8 glasses a day rule, right? But the reality is there's no single magic number that works for every single person. Your total water needs depend entirely on your unique biology and your environment. We're talking your age, your body size, the climate you happen to live in, and your daily activity level. You really have to pay attention to your own unique bodily signals rather than just obsessing over some rigid daily quota.
And ultimately, staying hydrated isn't just about downing plain glasses of water. Your total water needs are actually met through a really diverse combination of daily inputs. Yes, beverages like water, milk, and soups are the primary sources, but everyday foods, especially fresh fruits and vegetables, contribute a surprisingly massive amount to your overall fluid intake as well.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Your body doesn't just throw its hands up and stop working the second your fluid drops. It adapts, it heavily conserves, and it constantly sends you these profound biological signals. Maintaining your water balance is literally one of the absolute foundations of normal human physiology. Your body is always communicating with you. You just have to know how to listen. So, are you listening?